Hello, everyone. A very nice good evening and good morning because Mr. Manik is reporting from US. So, welcome to the forum, Women Economic Forum, and we are very happy and delighted to have you as a panelist on the topic creating joy in twilight years, caring for the elderly. Uh, so, this session would be moderated by Meghalai, Managing Director at LBN Tech Solutions. And the panelist would be Dr. Thanga Prabhu, CIMIO at Apollo Hospitals. Welcome, Dr. Thanga. Seetha Sagaran, motivational speaker, personal development trainer. Welcome, Seetha. Uh, Sudha, freelance journalist and writer. Welcome, Sudha. Miss Anupama Sharma, director at Prayojana Golden Years Private Limited. Welcome, Anupama.
Thank you.
And Dr. Manik Rajendran, founder and CEO at IMMI Life Healthcare. Welcome, Mr. Manik. So, on that note, wishing you a great session. Over to you, Meghalai. I will see you soon again.
Thank you, Nisha, for that wonderful introduction. A warm welcome, speaker and trainer from UAE. And Seetha is a licensed practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. Among her very many achievements, she's a wonderful speaker. Seetha, caring for an aging loved one will inevitably come with challenges along the way. Okay. In our conversation also, we spoke about that earlier. We were talking about mindfulness. What is mindfulness, and how can practicing mindfulness help the elders in taking care of the elders? Over to you, Seetha.
Thank you very much, Meghalai, for the welcome and the kind introduction. I'd like to first of all convey my appreciation and thanks to WEF for having invited me and giving me the privilege to be with you all and speak to you all today. Thank you. When we talk about mindfulness, it is basically a quality or a state of being conscious or aware of something. We can also define it as an awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting our feelings, thoughts, and sensations, which is happening in that process. So I think it's basically best defined as a state of mind. And when we talk about how mindfulness can help in communication, before we talk about how mindfulness can help us communicate with the elderly better, I'd like to mention here that we are more conscious of the words we use. For example, keeping the conversational tone as respectful, even when there is a disagreement being discussed. So I think that is sometimes not always given priority when there is a disagreement, because many a time the emotions tend to come in the forefront, and we may or may not be very attentive to the choice of language we make. The second one is it enables us to rehearse our words. Yes, because when we are about to say something, even if we are not very comfortable about it, we might still think about what is the right word that I can use so as to not create any offense, at the same time enable me to communicate as clearly as possible. Insightful understanding also is promoted through mindfulness, because as we all know, everyone has their own different styles of communication. And for some people, it could come across as something very abrupt. I remember years ago when I was speaking to an elderly person many years ago, and my initial meeting with the gentleman came to me as a bit of a surprise, because the manner I have been seeing how many elderly speak was very different if I compare it to that person. But I realized over a period of time that that was just the loving manner that person communicates. So I think it enables us to be more mindful or more aware of those we are speaking to and understand their communication style as well. Now, if we want to incorporate how mindfulness can be incorporated in our relationship with the elderly, the first thing would be listen. I think we probably don't need to reach the elderly age to understand that we all can benefit better through listening. As a mother of two children, both of them who are adults today, I am often told that I need to listen better. I'm an extremely poor listener. And I do admit to all my panelists today here, yes, I sometimes do tend to get a little carried away in my desire to communicate and speak. So listening comes first. The second one is the non-verbal communication. Now, when we talk of non-verbal communication, there is one incident that comes to my mind. That was when my father was critically ill. It happened during the 2018 Kerala floods. I'm sure many of you would have recalled that tragedy. So he was extremely ill and he was suffering from 4th stage cancer. So during the initial times he had to visit the hospital, none of us was really anticipating how quickly he would deteriorate. So the first time I was scheduled to travel from India to Dubai, he had already told me, don't even think of canceling your ticket or postponing your trip. You just go ahead, we can manage. The next time when he had to be hospitalized, and when he came back home, I told him, no, I will be postponing my next trip as well. And he said, why do you wish to? Don't even think of it. And I was very, very appreciative of the courage and the vibrancy he had when he assured me. The third time he fell sick and he returned from the hospital, I told him quietly, you know what, I'm not traveling anytime now. And the third time when I spoke to him, he didn't say a word. He merely nodded and he looked away. And I think that actually hurt me a lot more, because not the fact that he wasn't telling me to go forward and make the trip, but I could see from his non-verbal communication that he was probably relieved that I'm there, because probably by then he could see and sense that his health was faltering and he was deteriorating. So I think non-verbal communication can definitely help us a lot, because if he had chosen to be quiet and I told him that I'm traveling, knowing my father, he would have just kept quiet. And if I had probably overlooked the non-verbal communication he was giving, it would have been very sad, especially, I think, sad for the fact that he was suffering and he was not able to tell me, because he was so concerned about my comfort that he wouldn't want me to change my plans. Mm-hmm. And the third one is about verbal communication, of course. And when we talk of verbal communication, there are times when you may find, or we may find, that the elderly, they might have their own ways of speaking, either because of their discomfort, or it could be because of lapses in memory, or it could be because they are not as mobile as they were used to years before. But I think, once again, our choice or the manner we choose to respond to their communication would enable them to feel a lot more secure and comforted. So even sometimes when they might respond in anger, if we just go to them and just hug them a little bit and say, what happened? For all you know, they might just tell you what it is, because they were not expecting that kind of kindness from us. So I think every step of the way, as we choose to respond to them, the first step would be thinking, what are they going through? Of course, we may not have any idea the extent of what they are going through because of their age and the difficulties they are undergoing. But through sensitivity, through a little more of compassion, we would be able to understand them a lot more. So the key strategies to ensure effective communication through mindfulness is, we need to remember that words have immense power. So for example, if we are speaking to someone and that person disagrees with us, and if we choose to respond by saying, why do you speak this way? Or we choose to respond to ask them by asking them, can you please explain? I think the immediate reaction would be very, very different. And the second one is being present while communicating. How aware are we of the now when we are speaking? The third thing is incorporating tact and sensitivity in difficult conversations.
Yeah.
How tactful are we? And how much are we able to incorporate sensitivity? The fourth one is the comprehension of communication style, which I mentioned earlier, which would also enable us to understand people better. And I would also like to mention here before I conclude, or any Q&A, any questions that might be coming forward, is that please, we need to remember that even though our communication style may be seen by some as not exactly as we would like to be seen, it takes time. So sometimes giving people time to understand you is also helpful than completely changing our style of communication because of our temporary inability to communicate with them. I think with that, I would like to hand it back to Meghalai, and I hope I have been able to throw some light regarding mindfulness and communication.
It was very clear, sound advice, Seetha. Like communication is, responding to people in a thoughtful manner, tactful manner also. So you listed out a lot of points like, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and you gave a personal story also about your father and how you and he responded. It was all wonderful advice. And probably people also, this can, lots of words which we use can lead to several misunderstandings, strained relationships as well, which you cannot mend because they are in that very sensitive stage of life, right? So that hurts them deeply. So mindfulness is so important. I wish we could have some training sessions for caregivers or the families. I don't know. We can talk about that a little later. But now I think it is.
Thanks, Meghalai. I'm sure it's a great session. Thank you, all the speakers. We are time bound and we have to close the session at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for all your inputs. And on behalf of WEF Economic Forum for your contribution and for the great work that you guys are doing, we are going to felicitate you with an award called Exceptional Leader of Excellence. The award would be mailed to you within 15 days in your respective email. So thank you so much for your time, and it was great to have you at a panel and the insights that you have shared. Thank you so much. We'd like to close the session. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, wonderful speakers. So let us bring back happiness, health, and honor to all the elders. And very wonderful points. And I've noted down a lot. I'm sure the participants also would have enjoyed the session. So let us, continue to do this periodically. We can join together and do this often. Thanks for your valuable time, participants. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Have a good night. And have a great day, Mr. Manik. Bye-bye.